Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This week I am joined by a petroleum and gas engineer. She is a girl in STEM advocate and also the founder of her own catering business. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Hajara Kabeer in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Khalid.
Obviously like I said at the top, you graduated as a petroleum and gas engineer. It's a first class honor, if I may say. How did you decide to join or go into sciences from secondary school?
Well, that was kind of an easy decision, considering the fact that I went to a science school. I went to Queen Science Academy in Kano. So it was actually very easy for me to just, choose a career in sciences or engineering.
What about coming into the university? How did you make your decision?
Well, it wasn't really quite an easy decision because, considering the jam and other things, when we wrote the jam, I remember I scored 200 in the jam, and I applied for medicine in BUK Kano. But as you know, the cutoff mark for medicine was quite high, almost like 230 or so. And really, I didn't really know quite well what I wanted to do, but I knew it wasn't medicine. So when I didn't really get into the medicine, I now decided to begin to look out for other options. But I knew my parents wanted to keep me out of the country to study, so I started looking for options in the within the country, and I came across Nile University.
You said you knew it was medicine. How and why? The number
Well,
of years?
I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of biology, and I realized that the medicine is all has to do with biology and all, and not that. Initially, I'm a person that is how do I put it for you? I like to be different, I like to do things my own. I like to challenge myself and all. So when we were graduating from secondary school, I think almost everybody in my set wanted to study medicine, apart from just maybe 2 to 3 people out of a set of 60 students. Almost everybody wanted to study medicine, and I just went with the flow, following everybody.
Obviously, you came in, picked petroleum and gas. How did you feel coming into coming into engineering? I mean, engineering is seen as a male-dominated field. How did you feel? Did you fit in?
Well, I think so. The whole concept of engineering being a male-dominated industry, well, that's not true. It is, but when you have the mindset of change, when you have the mindset that okay, I want to make a difference, I want to be different. So I remember telling one of my cousins that studied mechanical engineering that I wanted to go into engineering, and he was like, "Hell no, stop there. That I shouldn't go into engineering because it's just for the men, that I should leave that to the men, that I should go and study something like nursing or something like chemistry." And I was just, I was like, okay, I will take this as a challenge. And, subconsciously, the thing just kept on going and going and going. And then I found myself in engineering.
Knowing you personally, I was going to say, like, hearing that, I knew you must have taken it, like, not as an insult, but as a challenge to you to, like, say, oh, you're saying I can't do this. Okay, I'll show you I can.
Yeah, so because he was like the first person to study engineering in my whole family. Well, I'm not sure, but I assume that he is the first person to study mechanical engineering. So everybody, in fact, we call him engineer, and also it was just coming as if, okay, you cannot do this, and that's not what I like to hear.
What were the early years like? 100 level, 200. What was the initial years for you? How was it?
Well, I would say they were fun, and challenging as well. I had a group of interesting friends that motivated me and kept me going. We challenged ourselves, we all started off with first class, all of us, and amazingly we all graduated with it. So, I remember I stay off campus, so during examination time, we all gather at the hostel, we sleep together and, study together and pass together. So, and they were also studying all engineering, I think. Yeah. So it was quite interesting. It was motivating for me, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's not easy. How difficult is it? Like, because I feel like we don't have that conversation enough as to how difficult school is, how difficult engineering is.
Well, No doubt, engineering is a really, really difficult course, especially if you're not friendly with mathematics, calculus and physics, all of those things. But I would say that if you have quite a good background, secondary school background, the transition will be really, really, seamless to you because most of the things that we did for the 100 level, and 200 level were kind of like just advanced things that we did in secondary school. For me, that was how I saw them because they were really, really familiar to me. I've done some of them back in secondary school, so the transition was not really very, very challenging. I think the challenge started when I was in 300 level
Yeah.
when we started all those
Core
courses,
courses.
all those core courses, and some lecturers were not really making it easy for you to understand it.
Yeah.
They were not really helping you with the transition.
Yeah.
But for the first years, they were quite, okay.
And I think in terms of like coming into the core courses, it's, I mean, given the field, petroleum and gas, it's not something you can, for example, like electrical, you go to the lab and you play with the ammeter, the copper, and so on and so forth. You have to, the best you can do is visualize.
Absolutely.
So I think there was a bit of that difficulty
Yeah.
for them to be able to allow the students visualize.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about SPE. What is
Great.
SPE, and like how did you hear about it, and why did you decide to join?
Well,
It's a long
SPE,
story.
it is a long story, but that is something very close and dear to my heart. You can testify to that. SPE is Society of Petroleum Engineers. And the first time I heard it was through a friend. So she told me that she has registered for SPE, and I was like, okay, what is that? And she showed me the membership card, and then I was like, wow,
That's cool.
I need to be part of this, because I love extracurricular activities. Then all of a sudden, the department called us one day and told us that they would want us to start up a student chapter, blah, 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 blah. And then they gave us a presentation. I remember Ms. Rahima, she gave us the presentation about SPE, why we needed to join SPE, and,
Yeah.
how we can actually come together to develop ourselves professionally through SPE. And then I became just, interested. Why? Because I had a lot of dreams then. I had a lot of dreams. I was seeing myself in. I actually placed myself at a certain position, and I wanted to go by all means to reach that point. So I felt like going through signing up for SPE and participating in SPE would actually help me to be able to get to that point, and that was the best decision that I've ever made for myself.
In terms of what were some of the benefits, like if you could highlight some of the benefits that SPE, like you got from SPE?
Well, for me, the most important thing is growth. Being a part of SPE has actually allowed me to grow, in fact, even beyond my limits. I was able to, network with people who were there for you all the time, people who could advocate for you, people who could, have your back,
Yeah.
people who would push you to your limits, people who would be there to guide you career-wise and all. And, meeting a pool of professionals like that, I don't know because I don't know of other organizations, but my experience with SPE is that it gives you that ability to be able to, find it, to connect with people.
Yeah.
That you feel like, okay, from afar, this person
It's
is
not possible.
unreachable. It's
Yeah.
not possible for me
Yeah.
to get there. MDs of companies, big
Yeah.
people in the oil and gas and all. And all of a sudden, you're a part of SPE, you go to one or two events and you find out yourself sitting next to, somebody that is very important, I would
Yeah.
say, in the industry. And at times they get interested in your career development, and we
Yeah.
end up being friends. He ends up, or she ends up being your mentor.
Yeah.
And, the networking goes on.
Yeah. Personally, I refer to you as a superstar because, I mean, the other day I was seeing, so I just saw your face on the posters, and you're not going to details. Like, do you feel like it gave you a platform to like grow into?
It did. So I mentioned to you earlier on that I used the word, when you asked me that what SPE did for me, I told you that it gave me the ability to grow. So I wanted to see myself at a particular position, but I didn't know how. Just, coming to that university, graduating from the school, and then probably getting a job. And I cannot even imagine my life just that plain and
If
simple.
you take SPE out.
No, it's not possible.
Yeah.
So, it gave me that opportunity to be able to build a certain picture for myself, and I'm able to place the picture one step at a time.
You mentioned the importance it played, like in terms of other professional student bodies. How important do you think it is for students to join their professional bodies right from school? I mean, in terms of, like, for example, for electrical, we have the IEEE.
Yeah.
For economics, we have I think it's called the Nigerian Economics Student something, NESA.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is for students to join the professional bodies right from their university days?
So, first off, it all depends on who a person is, what your values are, who you want to be, and where you want to see yourself. So, if you're a visionary person like me, I think you'll be able to picture and place all these puzzles in the right places.
Yeah.
So it is very important for students to learn extracurricular activities for numerous reasons, and one of the reasons is this exposure. It actually exposes you in a situation whereby you're actually going to be a bit, should I use the word wiser? You're going to be wiser than your peers, because you go out, you mingle with people that are way older than you, much more experienced than you are, and you share a lot of information. They tell you, you tell them, you communicate and all, and then you come back. Then you find out that you are like one step ahead of your mates. And then the more you do that, the more you become, better, the more you become ahead of people. So I think with SPE, that was exactly what happened to me.
Overall, the university, SPE, everything, I mean, 5-6 years later, how would you summarize it?
Amazing experience.
I think that's just the best answer you can give.
Exactly.
I wanted to actually talk to you about something. Just before we came on, you put something out in terms of, like, in the last couple of days there was this thing that came out. This ongoing battle between private universities and public universities. I won't go into much details, but like you put something out regarding, like, basically in summary, like, it needs to stop. Just elaborate, like, your opinion and your feelings towards people that think, oh, this person went to a private university, so, like,
Thank you very much for bringing that up, because I saw someone today on LinkedIn made a post, and if I can recall the post, the person was talking about you need to stop, seeing education as something that is, very hard. You have to stop viewing education as hardship, long time suffering, and all. Just because you went to a public university doesn't mean that you're better than somebody that went to a private university. So a particular experience that is stuck in my head is one time during one of the internships that I had. We were together with a group of interns and also some staff, and then we were talking, and they asked me what my GPA was. So I told them, and then they were like, oh, you sit down. Are you not from private university? So I looked at them and I was like, yes, I'm from private university. And then the other ones that were from the public university, they were like, you are just, studying, whatever you're studying is so easy for you. They let you pass anyhow. I was like, okay, interesting. I want us to do this conversation. I want us to carry on with the conversation. And then we carried on. And then one of them was telling us that it's like everybody in private universities graduates with the first class. I was like, okay, come to my school and then let's see how many people graduate with the first class every year. And I remember telling them that, okay, good. I come from a private university and you come from a public university. So tell me, what point are you trying to prove to me? That because you're suffering, your lecturers don't pass on knowledge to you, they don't come to class, you go online to learn, whatever, jargon you get from the internet, and then you come back, you write exams, and then somebody just out of, the not really goodness of their heart feel like, okay, this guy, you cannot have an A in my course, even though you have it, I'm going to give you an E or an F. I was like, is that something to be proud of? I asked them, okay, what exactly is knowledge? And how exactly do you pass on knowledge? Yeah. You pass on knowledge if, it's like a transition from one point to the other. We have the people before us, they're supposed to transmit that knowledge down to us. We're also supposed to be able to do that to the next generation. That is what growth is about. That is what knowledge is about. But if that is what the
That's what
public
teaching is
university,
about.
exactly, that's what teaching is about. That's the whole concept of going to school
Yeah.
and being educated. But if, you're just using that as an excuse, come on. My lecturers are PhD earners. They are professors. They are associate professors.
Yeah.
They took their time and went to these same public universities. But then they come to the class, give us the time that we need, put us through, pass on their knowledge to us, we learn. I can remember there's some lecturers, Khalil, if you can remember, I don't understand this, Mr. So and so, and then they'll be like, okay, in fact, we were, okay, for example, like, if you remember our physics classes and other
Yeah.
classes, our calculus classes,
Yeah.
we kind of had like hours there
Yeah.
trying for the lecturer, trying to make us understand. And exam will come, even giving us extra classes. I feel like a lecturer should have pleasure in seeing their student pass.
Yeah.
Because for me, I can't just imagine being a lecturer and my students are not even passing, meaning that I've wasted the whole semester teaching them rubbish and jargons.
Yeah.
So it just has to stop, this whole issue of I went to a public university, so I studied better than those in the private. Excuse me, no, you didn't. I can remember the whole days that, during exams, we had sleepless nights, going online, trying to look for things as well, sources, getting people from all over, trying to help you, see how we did our projects, look at how we all suffered. So it's not really about, the whole suffering and all. Education is supposed to be easy and seamless, but if they choose to take it that way, well, I'm sorry, if you're fortunate to be in a private university, please go. And if you're not, please don't make your your life miserable because the lecturers want to make your life miserable.
It's a long conversation.
It
We
is.
could spend the whole time on
We
it.
can.
And I remember like one of our lecturers, like he used to say like his joy is to see someone successful and think, oh, I had a role to play in that man's success.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's talk about the pastry chef. How and why did you decide to go into catering? You do everything. I mean, anyway.
Well, I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so it's not a surprise.
Okay.
So all my family members, my sisters, my brothers, they all have their successful businesses, and at a point I also had to have one. And considering the fact that I'm very good with, cooking and making pastries and all, I just started to make a living out of it. And I started it when I was in 300 level.
Yeah.
I started baking cakes, selling them, pastries and all, and then moved to catering for food. So that was how it all started.
I see. Well, I'll leave the description to the Instagram page down below.
Of course.
What about capital? I mean, for a lot of entrepreneurs, capital is kind of like the stumbling block to starting a business. How were you able to get source capital?
Well,
Family, friends, savings?
I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't say that I started this business with a capital. I just had some money with me and I knew how to bake and I knew how much, all the baking stuff cost. How to, I just went and bought them, and basically that was how it started. When somebody wants something, you have a little money with you, go make the purchase and then make the order for them. And then they pay you and then, get back your money, remove your profit, and life goes on.
Talk to me about Girl in STEM.
Oh.
Another long story.
Yeah, but then I'll try as much as I can to just summarize it for you. So, Girl in STEM is something that is very, very dear to my heart as well. And basically, it's an organization or a non-governmental organization that actually helps, the educationally disenfranchised northern girls to be able to have a career in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths. Oftentimes, you find out that a lot of northern girls don't really go into these courses, the STEM courses. fact being that it's male dominated, it's always difficult, and all of that. But times are changing. It's no more male dominated because, come on, we have a lot of female now in the industry, and it is important for us to be able to show parents, teachers, and guardians that STEM is an interesting, rewarding, and also a successful career choice for the girl child. So basically, that's what the whole Girl in STEM is about, and I'm all about mentoring. I'm about I'm trying to create an impact in my immediate environment, trying to be a role model to other northern girls to see that, okay, I'm a northern girl from Katsina State, Hausa, I'm a Muslim and all, trying to take down all the
barriers.
all the barriers, exactly.
Interesting, you said what a couple of those things, and I've actually been meaning to ask you this. You obviously did your IT in the other part of the country, where someone that looks and dresses like you will be given a second look. That look of, does she really belong here? How were you able to overcome? Because I'm sure you heard one or two side comments.
Yeah.
Oh, she ties something. What is she really doing here? How were you able to battle those comments?
Well, it really happened, and I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to be able to see another side of the of life, and in fact, although the people there were very kind, they were very welcoming, but you still have one or two people that always shows that amusement, that always shows that surprise face. Oh, what are you doing here? The fact that you're wearing a hijab, you're dressed in a complete, Muslim attire and all. So you always find that. So I remember the day that didn't really, stuck in my head was when I had the opportunity of going to visit the rig, and I was there, who goes to a rig with a hijab? But I went there with my hijab, and I went to the dining hall during dinner, and everybody was seated, and I just entered into the place. It was like everything, like time just stopped, and everyone just turned looking at me like, what is this girl doing here? And so the interesting thing is that people are it's not really in a negative way. They're actually surprised because they haven't really seen probably somebody like that there, or it's really rare for them to see people like that. So you find people walking up to you, expressing their interest in to know what you're doing, who you are, and what you do. And to me that's really interesting because I get to share my story with people, but then the worst part is when I tell them I'm from Katsina, they always refer me to Bahari's sister, and it's not all that nice, and they feel like we're always
ahead.
Not really ahead, like at the enjoyment part of I don't know how to put it, Sha. But when they say, oh, Bahari's sister, you know what they mean. So it's not really nice. But it was really a nice experience, even though sometimes you meet people and the way they react, you like it. And I remember another experience as well. I was in the lift one day during my internship, and then I met a woman. She just came in and she was like, it was early in the morning, like 7:30 or so. And then she was like, what are you doing here? It was only me and her in the lift. I turned, I looked at the mirror, and then I realized that she was really referring to me. And then I told her that internship. Then she was like, oh. So her face meant that, okay, you are not supposed to be here. I don't know, but that was how I read it. You're not supposed to be here, and I really, really wanted to talk back at her, but the respect, the values that we grew up with.
Time is always a constraint for me. What advice would you give young girls watching this to say, oh, I want to be like you? What advice would you give them?
Well, to be honest with you, it's simple. For me, it's always figure out where you can shine and always show up. But before you're able to do that, you have to be able to, come out of your comfort zone, be able to expose yourself, put yourself out there, dare to be different. It doesn't matter what people say about you, as long as you have a certain goal, try as much as you can to be able to reach it. And one important thing again is that, in as much as we want, for us, the northern girls, Muslim girls, Hausa girls, we are constrained by some kind of culture and religious barriers. But to me, I would say that, don't let all of those be, constraints to you, in the sense that if really, really you know what your religion requires of you, try as much as you can not to allow your career to come between your religion. It's always a deal breaker. And secondly, culture, is the value that we grew up with, is what people, is who we are. So in as much as we want to do away with it, it's not really possible.
Yeah.
So you have to also pay its own respect. So in terms of getting married and things like that, you really, really have to be able to look at things and see how you can, settle. And the most important thing is that before you are able to choose a partner, you should look extremely well. If you're an ambitious person, probably like me or other, women that we look up to, you really, really have to take your time and know that I know what you're getting into. Know that whoever it is that you're going to end up with is somebody that is actually going to allow you to grow, somebody that is going to, allow you to shine and reach your limits and even push you beyond that.
I think that last part is a conversation for off the camera. But lastly, what does the future hold for you?
Well, for me, Alhamdulillah.
Marriage next?
Well,
Maybe.
obviously, it always has to be part of the plan.
Do you want to practice?
Of course. Yeah. So, but for me right now, I'm trying to transition into sustainable energy. My aim, my absolute aim right now is to become a future energy leader. And one of the first steps for me to achieve that is for me to be able to, first of all, go for a master's degree. And if that doesn't really hold, get a company that is keen on, that is really big on energy, to be able to develop me in that aspect and do that. So the transition is really easy, because from a petroleum engineer to, the energy industry, it's quite the same thing, but just an advanced version of it. Well, so that is where I'm headed.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll see you back sometime soon. As always, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and drop a comment, like tell me what you think. Really want to hear from you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sure.